Alright guys, we're back for another fantasy football video. It's week 6. Do you start him? Do you sit him? If we're looking for an easy and obvious choice, such as starting Tyreek Hill, this video isn't for you. Rather, we want to look at some of the picks that you may have overlooked. As always, we'll give you starts, sits, and also a sleeper pick. Let's start off with my first start of the week in Buffalo Bills running back James Cook. Cook is coming off a rough game last week, only garnering 5 carries for a whopping -4 yards. I honestly just think he's due for a bounce back, as his first 4 games he'd been averaging 14 attempts per game and 4 targets in the air. Cook is averaging a nice 4.8 yards per carry, and against one of the league's worst run defenses, look for Cook to put up a nice stat line this Sunday. Also, start Zay Flowers, as last week he received a career-high 11 targets in a Ravens loss. Even as a rookie, he's already established himself as the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore, and he continues to build trust and chemistry with Lamar Jackson. The Titans' pass defense is awful, 23rd in the league. Flowers is due for his first touchdown catch of the season, and look for Zay to get on the board, as he was one of the most explosive receivers coming out of college last year, and he looks like a polished veteran already. Now, some guys that won't make the cut this week if you have to make tough choices. Saquon Barkley should be back from a high ankle sprain he suffered in week 2, but the Giants' offensive line is just terrible. There's no other way to put it. They can't protect the passer, much less get any pressure and push the D-line out for runs. They're also missing starters Andrew Thomas and John Michael Schmitz, and this line is beat up, and so is Saquon. On top of it all, quarterback Daniel Jones is ruled out for this week's contest, and everything is just trending downwards for the Giants this week. I know you want to get Saquon back in your lineup, but I would stay away from not only Saquon, but pretty much any Giants player this week. Terry Mclaurin, or Scary Terry, is also someone I'll be staying away from this week, as quarterback Sam Howell has been mixing the ball around and doesn't seem to have a favorite go-to target. I know you probably drafted Terry hoping he'd be your wide receiver 2 in fantasy, but he's just not consistent enough and has a really tough matchup this week with star corner AJ Terrell. Plus, he's only put up 50-plus receiving yards twice through the first 5 weeks. It's time for the sleeper pick of the week, and I'm going with KJ Osbourne, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. With the devastating news of Justin Jefferson being placed on IR and missing the next 4 games and potentially more, someone is needed to step up in the Vikings and that man for me is KJ Osbourne. In the final 4 games of the 2022 season, KJ had 342 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and 25 receptions. Now that Jefferson is out, look for KJ to feast on the Bears' defense. By the way, last week I'd say we hit on AJ Dillon, Breece Hall, Cortland Sutton, but I was wrong about sitting A-Chain, although without that one big run, it would have been, a good choice, and Boyd was pretty good. So I'd say we went 4 for 5 or 3.5 from 5, but let us know. Would you like to see more fantasy football coverage on the channel? I look forward to reading your comments, and let me know your sleeper picks or sits for next week.